I'm Leonie from the Woolbaa and I'm really excited to show you a new technique. Today's one is knitting in the round with double pointed needles, that's what they look like, as opposed to knitting in the round with circular needles. Knitting in the round with double pointed needles can seem scary, but practice makes perfect and it really isn't that hard. A lot of people are doing it. Now, I've cast on all my stitches onto one needle and the next task is to get them onto 3 other needles. So you just go into the back of the stitch like so and transfer them over. So I've got 40 stitches on this needle. It's on the left, so I'm going to try and make it 10 on each one. Put that down and then the next 10. When you do this, I push them to the middle of the needle so that they don't fall off. And because they're bamboo needles, they've got a nice little grip on them. They're smooth bamboo, but it's not too smooth. And then I'll leave those ones there. So we have divided evenly, or roughly evenly, onto 4 needles. And then that will become a circle. A square to begin with, but it'll become a circle. The thing you've got to watch at this point is really, really important. You can't be too careful or check often enough. You've got to make sure there's no twists in these little stitches. So I can't flip this over like so. I've got to have them all facing towards the middle. So you see the cast on row? It's all facing in the same direction. There's no sneaky little twist. From there, I'm going to pick up my 5th needle and I'm going to be knitting into the first stitch over here. But I have to move that needle, the stitches, up to the point and then arrange the needle so I'm feeling comfortable, and the yarn needs to be on the inside also because I'm going to be doing some knit stitch. So I'm going to just knit into that first stitch. And it's always awkward when you start, but once you get going, you'll be right. And the needles are going to click and clack a little bit at the moment until I get going. So I'm just doing stocking stitch. If I was doing a beanie or gloves, I would probably be doing rib stitch. But just to make this exercise a little bit easier for you to see what you need to do, I am doing knit. So I've finished with that needle. So now that needle is empty, it comes over into the right hand. And then I make sure all the stitches are still on the middle of the needle. And the one I'm going to work off, I will be putting that near the point. And the left hand is doing quite a busy job of controlling things. So every needle, I will knit all the stitches from the left to the right, and then the left needle will be empty, and I will use that one for the right hand for the next needle. So you see that's now empty, this one on the left. So now it comes over to the right and we keep going. And you've got to be careful at this point, you're still not twisting those needles around. You've got to be very careful that they stay in the same direction. Don't want a nasty twist in your knitting, because there's no way of getting rid of it except pull your knitting out. And that's very depressing. So therefore another needle comes vacant. I push those ones down to the middle and push this one up to the front, up to the top, so that I can easily transfer them. And now we have done one round. Now you can see there's quite a bit of a gap. It's sort of stretched out, but that will disappear. So I'm just now doing some housekeeping and making sure that the yarn is all in the right spot. I have got my knitting all facing in the same direction. No nasty twists or turns yet. So yes, that's going well. So now this tail will indicate that I've finished a round when that comes around. So now I've got to start again the second round, and same thing. Spare needle, it's going to transfer the needles from the left to the right by knitting. Feels weird when you start, so you get that nice little rhythm going. So I'm doing a second round. Push it to the middle. Always tidying up as I go. Make sure you don't split the stitches. So now 2 rounds have been completed. Let's look at how that is shaping up. Get rid of all these little tails everywhere so that you can see clearly. And yes, double check we have not got any twists. All of the knotty bits are coming to the inside. And you can see here, because I'm just doing knit stitch, it's actually turning into stocking stitch. So you've got all of the little V's there and all of the knots on the other side. So, and you can see that little gap has become much less. So I'll do just one more round and you can see how it's looking. So look at that. We've got a few rows. Clearly we can see the pattern of stocking stitch happening there. There are no nasty little twists or turns, so it's all facing the right way. Now sometimes people like to use a marker when they're knitting in the round so they can see where the round begins, but the trouble with double pointed needles is that that would fall off. I could put it in the middle of a row or at the what the stitches are there, but that would just not work so well. So I don't worry about it with this. I go, okay, I've got the tail happening here, so that will indicate when I'm due to start a new round. And the thing with double pointed needles, you can see clearly when it's starting anyway, because the stitches remain separated on the particular needles. So there you go, that's double pointed needles, and I think you will find that's a lot of fun to try out. Just muck around with some spared yarn that you've got and some needles, doesn't matter which size. I've used great big fat ones here so that you can see, but yeah, just have a go. So welcome to the world of double pointed needles. Aren't they great? Good fun to try. Now if you've liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and then turn on your notifications so you get told every time I make a new video.